Hello hunters. You always have wondered how good is Blast and how much contributes to a hunt? You are in the right place. Blast is a status that instills a strong allure on gunlancers. It is the element of explosions. And God knows we all love explosions and live by the motto that there are not enough explosions. There is also this tactic aspect about how it is also fixed damage where hit zones don't matter. As you might know by now if you are a subscriber. Thanks. I can't stop complaining about how big irrelevant raw skills are for gunlance. Pokes only get 1/4 of your total raw at the very best and gets worse and worse from there. If you want to hit zone legs for trips, you are in for something like 10% of your raw. Only the biggest bonuses to attack matters while all others are very inefficient, like a 5% total extra damage for 7 skill points, and a 5% is equivalent to hitting the enemy with a combo, 10 seconds faster quests at a maximum. Something that raises your attack uptime is more powerful. See? I'm ranting again. Let's get back on track. As I was saying, Blast is guaranteed extra damage independent of hit zones. The only two things that matter is how high your blast is and how much do you hit. The example you are seeing now was my favorite wide build before Brachydios blew away the meta. It is a build with 900 plus effective blast elements. In this run I get about 10 explosions in the whole hunt. This is 3000 damage. According to Kiraniko, Banbaro has 16,240 health and is capturable under 20%, so you only have to deal 13,000 to him. This means that in this fight the blast element did 23% of the total damage in the fight. To reference, critical boost 3 and 100% affinity is just a 15% on a wide 6 gunlance. The potential of Blast is there and shouldn't be slept on it. Once Master Rank Jar Bomber enters the game you should take a look at it. The objective of this video helps to calculate how much damage Blast can do in any build present or future. First of all, I have called my Blastic specialist friend to explain how the status works. Blasts work like all other elements only with the difference that there is no decay. Once you build up some blast damage, it stays there forever. For other status there is a pace that can change around, but is about 5 points every 10 seconds. It is there so you can't leave a monster at one more proc of doing the effect to avoid exploits like sleeping monsters just when it is going to run. Every time you hit an enemy like my favorite test subject Puke, there is a 1/3 chance that it will get some blast status. The quantity done is exactly the value on the weapon sheet divided by 10. This makes by example, Raw Jong Gunlance do 27 blast when it procs. Individual to every monster there is a counter for blast elements. When the blast goes over the value, boom! Explosion and counter resetted with a higher value. The ramp up value is also a monster by monster value. They can change even from quest to quest. In multiplayer, all statuses get an insanely big multiplier while damage stays the same, except Safi. The general consensus is that blast weapons are a total waste of time in multiplayer. You and your party will capitalize much more a status like paralysis and sleep. There is a cap on the counter for status where it will stop raising, but is a limit so big you will never reach it. I have tried. The skill blast status only effect is raising your blast stat. There is nothing special or unique about it. Blast 4 raises Brachy weapons from 27 to 36 status. A final thing to consider is the Apothecary Mantle. While it is active, you only do a 70% of your blast but you will always do status with each attack. This means doing status at a double pace. It can help to get some extra explosions when the cap is very high that would be impossible otherwise. On practical terms, doubles your effective blast. Effective blast is simply your blast stat divided between the chance to cause it. With all this over the table, let's see how much damage Brachydios Gunlance does in a hunt and how much of that is raised by the blast attack skill. For this, I have created yet another spreadsheet, the horror. Here I can input the in-game blast value and the resistances of the monster and quest modifiers for it. This by example is a Kiran stat that is a main target for blast because the sucky hitbox is on all his body. I also can input here the expected times I will hit the monster on the quest. I have already layered the ground for this by the DPM table where I can extract the numbers of pokes I do and the damage. Kiran has 21,000 health normally. This means that at most using the poke shell x3 combo, you will do less than 90 pokes because you deal about 11,000 damage per minute. And we see that the expected number of explosions is 4. We land 7 procs after the 4 explosions, so is somehow likely we only get 3 explosions, while it is totally impossible to reach the 4th explosion unless we equip a Apothecary. The expected blast damage here is from 900 to 1200 damage. On Kieran with 21,000 health, this means in 5.7% damage out of the box. This is a very lot more than the damage Agitator 7 gives you in the 30% hit zone that is the body. Never do a Kieran with raw. No, well, how much does a blast attack change things? Well, actually not very much. You are still expected to do the same number of explosions by just 1 hit. Of course, the good news is that 100% sure you will do 4 explosions for 1200 damage doesn't matter, and if you're very likely get another explosion for 1500 damage. So, at best is a 600 damage difference between blast attack 4 and 0. And there is a very good chance, the average, in fact, that you will get exactly the same explosions with both. Even on the max difference, 600 is the kind of damage you do with 2 charged shells. So blast attack at most will cut 3 to 4 seconds of a hunt. This is for Kieran, but in general, the pattern is the same. You will get at most 600 damage in a whole hunt from using blast attack. And so, my final verdict that blast attack has no real place in a meta gunlance shell because the impact is low on good conditions and blast is a meaningless skill in multiplayer. Even for monsters like Safi Jiva, there is 2 factors where the double explosion is meaningless. Safi Jiva at full energy has more than 120,000 health, 600 is a 0.5% of that. And second is that it has a multiplayer scaling, so you will get very few explosions. And because of all this, you will not see me using blast attack with Lightbreaker again. This means blast is crap and blast attack is useless? No. Because the potential is there as proven with Safi weapons, it just needs a good weapon for that, and Char Bomber is around here. On Thursday or Fridays I will do public my meta build for Poke Shell Wide 7 style. If you need a build now, please use my Poke Charged Shell meanwhile because it is the most balanced of all, being great for all kinds of monsters. And this is all. I will share the spreadsheet soon. It still needs some work since I want to add the cap. I hope you learned something. See you in the hunt.